Hi, this is Karen from the Huntley Library. Thanks for joining me for today's Teen Crafternoon. Today we're going to be doing eco-printing, which is printing with leaves and other things like that. So we're going to gather some supplies together and then I will show you what we're doing. Here are the supplies that we're going to be using today for our eco-printing. I have some paper to print on, some paint to print with, a selection of leaves that I found in my yard to make the prints with, and a brush and a sponge to apply the paint to the leaves. So gather your own supplies and we can get started. Okay, so be sure to protect your work surface. I have a thick piece of cardboard on here, so hopefully that will prevent me from getting paint all over my table here. So make sure you protect your spot that you're working in. I'm going to be using the paintbrush to paint my leaves. You can use, I'm using acrylic paint today. You can try other kinds of paint too. The most important thing is to, when you put them on, is to not put them on too thickly and to try and apply them to a part of your leaf or plant or flower that is going to leave an interesting print. So usually with leaves, the backs of the leaves, like the bottom side of them, has all kinds of raised veins. The front might also make an interesting print. You can try both sides and see how it comes out, but there's more relief areas on the back of the leaf. If the stem of the leaf is getting in the way too, you can trim that a little bit closer. I'm going to leave my stems on just so that I have something to pull the leaf up after I've pressed it down, which might keep my hands a little bit cleaner. We'll see how that goes. All right. So this is a leaf from a currant plant that I have, or a currant bush that I have in my yard. And you shouldn't need a lot of paint for this. You want to make sure that you're hitting all those places that you do want to leave a print. So all of the main veins here in the leaf. And a sponge might make this process go a little bit faster. To apply your paint. Feel free to make some test prints as well to see how much paint you like and where you want to place the leaf on your paper. And if you want to do multiple prints or have more than one color, you can experiment with that too. Okay, so I think I hit most of those areas. So now I'm going to put my brush aside. I'll stick that in the water there, and we'll try a print here. So you just want to find a place on your paper and press down. And when you're satisfied that you've pressed it down and all of those areas have met with the paper, you can lift it back up and see what you got. So that came out. This is what that looked like. So some areas had more paint than others. And I'm going to put another leaf print on this side here. This leaf is curling up a little bit in the middle, so it might smear some of the detail in some of those areas where I had to spread it out. Lift that up. Okay, so less paint on that one. Okay, let's try another kind. I have a lot of these violets growing in my yard, so this is one of the violet leaves, and I was playing around earlier, so it's got a little bit of blue paint left on it, but I think I'm going to put some green paint on there instead. And if there's enough blue paint left on there, I might get some of the blue mixed in. So I cleaned off my brush before I stuck it in the green paint. Some people use inks for this, so you could try that. Or if you have a stamp pad, that might be a way to do it too. All right, that's looking a little wet to me. Probably because my brush is a little wet. If your leaf is wet, you could use a paper towel or a napkin like I'm doing to get a little bit of that paint off of there before you put it on the paper. So I have removed some of it. I'm just making sure that those areas aren't totally dry. Okay, let's try printing. Print, print, print. And lift. Oh, so some of the blue did get on there. Cool. Print, print, print. Press, press, press. Okay, that one was not as dark, so that's what we have from that printing process. And you can see that the green was a little bit wet. So let's try that again. I'm going to try and get some of that extra paint off using the brush this time. Okay, put my brush aside and we're ready to print. If I can turn the leaf around, let's put that there. This one behaves a little bit better. It's not bunching up as much as the current leaf did. Yep, still kind of wet. I might have some more paint on there. So we'll try again. Press, press, press with your fingers. Okay. And that's what we got that time. A little bit messy. I think the blue worked better because the paint was not as wet as this, wet and runny as this green paint is. So we'll try another blue one. I've got a dandelion leaf now. This one's pretty delicate, and when you look at the back here, there aren't a whole lot of raised areas or veining on this, so I'm not sure how well this will turn out. You can see it a little bit better on this side, but it's still pretty flat. So we'll try it and see how it goes. I cleaned my brush off again. Oh, I probably don't want to paint directly on that or I'll get it all over the paper before I want to. And if you're working with fresh leaves like this, they may wilt a little bit on you once they're not attached to the parent plant anymore. I haven't tried this with dried leaves, but that's another option. Like in the fall, maybe you want to collect some oak leaves or maple leaves or whatever. Ginkgo leaves, I bet, would make really cool prints. They're kind of heart-shaped and lots of ridges. Okay, so I've got, I think, enough paint on there, and let's press this down and see what we get. If you're having trouble getting the leaves unstuck from your paper after you're ready to lift them up, you could get some tweezers to help pull them up, especially if you've got paint all over your fingers and don't want to get that on there. That actually turned out okay. We can see some of the veining on there. I'll do one more. I'm going to add a little bit more paint here again. I have quite a bit on my fingers. I can make some lovely fingerprints, I bet. Okay. And we'll do right there. So you don't need to take your leaves off of any fancy or important plants in your yard. Like I said, I grabbed mine from a bunch of things that exist as weeds. So I've got dandelion leaves and mint leaves and violet leaves. I'll do one more over here. This probably won't be super defined since there's not a lot of paint left on that leaf. But we'll see. Oh, we got a little bit. So you could use these as just, you know, artwork in your home, or you could write a little note on the back of it and make note cards. People print on fabric too, so you could make fabric designs. You could make a quilt out of lots of little pieces like that. All kinds of ideas for how you can use them after you have printed things. I hope that was helpful and that you had fun printing with these leaves. Here's a little bonus print. I tried to print with this carrot top here, and you can see it's pretty delicate, so it was hard to get paint on it in a way that I wanted to. So first I put the paint on around it because I thought, oh, maybe I could do like a sort of print where the plant is the white part. But that didn't turn out super well, and so then it had paint all over it anyway, so I just pressed that down onto the paper. And that actually made an interesting print. So if you feel like challenging yourself to work with something with smaller leaves or that's really delicate like this, go for it. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. I hope you had fun eco-printing with me today on Teen Crafternoon. Join us for more fun afternoon events at your leisure. And for more ideas, you can check out our website, www.huntleylibrary.org, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.